Down in Louisiana where the black trees grow, lived a voodoo lady named Marie Laveau. Got a black cat tooth and a mojo bone. Anyone who wouldn't leave her alone, she'd go, another man done gone. She lived in a swamp in a hollow log with a one-eyed snake and a three-legged dog. Bent bony body and stringy hair. And if she ever seen y'all messing around there, she'd go, wow, another man done gone. And then one night when the moon was black, into the swamp came Handsome Jack. An old good man like you all know, looking around for Marie Laveau. He said, Marie Laveau, why you lovely witch, give me a little charm, that'll make me rich. Give me $1 million, I'll tell you what I'll do. This very night I'm gonna marry you, and it'll be another man done gone. So Marie done some magic, shook a little sand, made $1 million, and she put it in his hand. She giggled and she wiggled and she said, hey, hey, I'm getting ready for my wedding day. But old Handsome Jack said, goodbye, Marie. You're too damn ugly for a rich man like me. Marie started mumbling, her fangs started gnashing, her body started trembling, and her eyes started flashing. She went, another man done gone. So if you ever get down where the black trees grow and meet a voodoo lady named Marie Laveau, if she ever asks you to make her your wife, man, you better stay with her for the rest of your life, or it'll be another man done gone.
Well, that was pretty funny because you guys couldn't hear anything I was saying, and I've been talking this whole time. So, because I didn't add myself to the stage, which is great because the dog went into a crazy barking fit. So sorry about that. Okay. So I found this weird, bizarre video. You saw it. Let me get back to it now. It's called Cutie Kylie Rodney Griffin. And then the name of the channel is Thomas Griffin. And there's one subscriber. It says my amphibian friend since Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. And then, 10 views. So no description's been added. There's no information, none whatsoever about this channel. And look, comments are turned off. So I don't know what this is, but it's bizarre. It's like psychopathic. All right. It's very strange. And you'll notice that on the guy's thumb, he looks like he has a tattoo. It's the number 186. I have looked for some sort of significance to that number. There is significance to the number 187, but not 186. That is a bottle of Centrum vitamins that are like silver vitamins for people over 50 or 60. Right behind the toad. It's a special kind of toad that can be used in poisoning. It causes, if you are poisoned with one of these bucus toads, you basically die because your body's potassium levels go sky high. It is very interesting because here's this toad that if you are poisoned with this toad, you will die from high potassium levels. And over here to the right, on the other side of this sun devils or sun dogs candle, that is a bottle of pure potassium. Now, this stuff is set up to seem like symbolic, right? It's not just a normal desktop. It's lined up with intent. It's a very strange setup. I've tried every way I could to read what is written on the papers, and you simply cannot. So I don't know what this is, but it's got to be out there. It needs to be documented. Someone needs to see this. It's only, what did I say? Maybe 10 views. How many was it? Yeah, 10 views. Uploaded October 2024. However, it was titled September 2022, which is so bizarre. Why would you make a video in September 13th, 2022 and not upload it for 2 years? Why would you do that? So it's weird. This is a trip. This is very disturbing. So I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to play this.
Keely Rodney. Keely Rodney. Cutie Keely, get your worm.
I think he turned the frog so that everybody could see what kind of frog it is. So it's pretty disturbing.
Here, sweetie cutie.
And up on the bed, there's lots of like little children's toys, pillows, and yet the guy is dressed in fatigues. His hands look a bit older to me. He's a freak. He is a very freaky dude. This is a scary video to me. Well, hold on. I'm trying to. I can't get it to shoot. I wanted to zoom in.
Keely Rodney. Cutie Keely Rodney.
So he says, Keely Rodney, cutie Keely Rodney.
Cutie Keely, get your worm.
Isn't that crazy? So he's showing you the kind of toad it is. And he's trying to get it to jump.
Here, sweetie cutie.
All right. So that's that. I felt like I needed to, document that and get it up somewhere saved, right? So there is that. All right. What do you guys think of that? Yeah, I might have nightmares too, Julie. That is like psychopath kind of crap. I don't know. I think it's symbolic, Ceresia. That's all. I think it's symbolic. The type of frog that is, if you ingest the venom from this frog, then it kills you, but by making your potassium levels go sky high. And yet here's a bottle of potassium, and then here's a Centrum silver that has these hashtag like counting marks. He's definitely a weirdo, Carol. I am with you 100%. The guy's a freak. And I really, I thought it was important to at least find a way to document it. If y'all want to go to the channel and try to see what you can make of what's in the background, it kind of made me have a bad feeling, right? Because it's got toys and there's something really wrong with it. It's something really off. So it's pretty disturbing. Okay, so that is out of the way. Now then, I want to talk about Aiden Mattis. Who knows who Aiden Mattis is? I feel bad for the frog too, Amber. I felt real bad for the frog. I hope he's safe. You know what I mean? Some people are insane, AP, and then some people are not insane. They just have a severe personality disorder. So he kind of struck me. Maybe he's not exactly right. He may be mentally ill. Okay, now then. So Laura Lodge, that's right, Sipanon. So Laura Elijah, yes, Tommy Larson. So I want to talk about this for a minute. Now, this guy, Aiden Mattis, first of all, he is a graduate of University of Pennsylvania, right? That's a serious university. A serious university, okay? Their acceptance rate is very small. You got to be one of the smart ones to get in, and then you must be even smarter to graduate, in fact. All right? Now, I grew amused, not in a happy, playful kind of way, but in a, screw you kind of way. I got a bit amused as I listened to probably two of the most simplistic, uneducated people, perhaps of all time, making fun of Aiden Mattis and calling into question his intelligence. They were making all kinds of accusations against him that he's dumb and he's stupid and that he's a soy boy and that he's a crybaby and all these really basically trying to dehumanize him, trying to strip him of his masculinity. Why? Why would these two uneducated bozos, why would they want to throw shade at this guy who is actually a serious academic, who's a young guy who graduated from a fine, like the university is like number 4 in the country, okay? We're talking about a serious education. And with his education, he decided to embrace the modern era. And that is, make content based on his area of expertise and make money through educating the world. That's basically what his channel is. So the channel, the Lore Lodge, that is in fact a reflection of him graduating from Penn State. In his area of specialization is medieval studies. And then also he had multiple writing minors. Like he has a minor in English, minor in history, classic studies, religious studies. So this guy is sort of your stereotypical. I mean, if there can be such a thing as stereotypical, he's like the exact type of academic, college professor. That's who he is. That he's brilliant and he is an expert in all things medieval European, right? And so he started up this YouTube channel, a history channel, if you will, where he talks on he talks on like stories from old. He talks about like Viking-esque type of commentary stories. And as you know, in the beginning, his stuff was quite academic intensive. Really, the only people that would have watched would be people that had a special interest in medieval studies or lore, tales, that kind of thing. But then he actually, people began to love him quite a lot. And back about a year or so ago, he was approaching 150,000 subscribers. And it was clear that his channel would be one that would be fairly successful. And he does write his own script. He doesn't just talk off the top of his head. He doesn't have ghostwriters. In fact, he is a ghostwriter for other channels. And so he kind of began venturing out into more contemporary stories to cover with his same writing style and that kind of thing. Like, for example, he did 3 people who were swallowed up by the national parks. And it was done according to kind of like a missing 411 type of format. He also did a video, which I particularly enjoyed. He did a video where he talked about the real origins of Halloween. And he was dressed up in a costume and being kind of silly, but provided good, accurate information on the early beginnings of Halloween and the symbolism behind it and such. At this point now, he lives somewhere in Philadelphia, He has been a ghostwriter for other channels, as well as writing his own scripts for his work. He does have multiple revenue streams, different branding opportunities that he's engaged. And he's basically becoming this giant in digital marketing. He's a digital marketing specialist. And you can see he's grown his channel quite a bit, just in a year. And he is well loved. So, I got a lot of respect for a young person who will graduate and then immediately start their own business and follow it through to fruition. I think he's probably a quite intelligent human being. And he, ACT score 32. Yikes. That, people, is high. Okay. So the YouTube clowns that are making jokes about Aiden Mattis, that, he's foolish and he's not very smart and he's dumb. You go choke on that ACT score of 32. You go on and you go choke on it. I challenge you to find anyone. You certainly could not make a 32. I have zero doubt about that. So, so the reason that I wanted to kind of lay this out first to who he actually is, let me read his little LinkedIn blurb. It says, graduated from Penn State in the spring of 2020 with a bachelor's degree in medieval studies. Began working full-time immediately upon graduation in May 2020 with a local property management firm, College Town Communities. He was a web and digital strategy designer, possesses significant experience in a self-directed, direct-to-consumer sales role as a sales associate with Vector Marketing, has a myriad of experiences writing professionally as part of web digital strategy work and academic work, as well as personal writing endeavors, writing a book, things like that. So the kid is, I don't mean to demean him by calling him a kid. He's a young guy. He's only been graduated from college 2 years. And he has grown at a very, very successful company with a very, very successful YouTube channel that is not Keemstar quality content. It is, in fact, actual, accurate, factual information presented in a way that is very interesting to normal subscribers. You're not going to find him over on his channel cussing people out and screeching and screaming. This kid is very, very intelligent. He is very, very well educated. He is a successful entrepreneur, only 2 years out from his college degree. And you have clowns trying to question his level of intelligence. Okay. So that's where we're going to start. Now then, I myself was shocked to find out that he had gone, yes, hey Jude, he's at 600,000 subscribers. 1 year ago, he had 150,000. He says that he wants to make his fame in digital marketing. Who here believes that he has a successful recipe for digital marketing? He knows what he's doing, and he is no Keemstar. All right. He is producing high quality content in an enjoyable manner that people return to watch him. Right? Everybody good. All right. So Aiden, so I was listening to Cluminati's channel, And in the middle of her discussion, she says, oh, yeah, Aiden is over on Queen Bee's channel because he's all butthurt and mad because I blocked him. He wanted to come up on my channel and I wouldn't let him. So now he's having a little temper tantrum and went over to Queen Bee's. And I don't think I would have let him go up on her panel if I was Queen Bee. So you get the idea of what's happening here. Cluminati and Cletus, they're very, very vocal about tearing people down. That's what they're really good at. And you get that, you get this guy, Aiden, with 600,000 subscribers, a very, very active channel, lots of viewers. You get this guy who's just, he's intelligent. He's got a business. He's not going to come up there and scream and yell and act like a fool. He's trying to have a legitimate conversation about the evidence in the Sebastian Rogers case. And I feel bad for him because he thought that maybe these two people would be willing to have a discussion. And they're not going to let that happen because they know he's smarter than them. The Cluminati and Cletus understand that this is a man who is educated and he's not just talking off the top of his head. He's not just being emotionally reactive, which is what they're used to dealing with, correct? And so there's no way that they could allow him up on Clue's channel because, he would just basically highlight that Clue and Cletus really don't have any information. All they have are hurtful, aggressive, personal attacks. That's all they have. There's no dignity. There's no facts. There's no logic or reason. It's just, you're not saying what I want you to say, and therefore I'm going to say the most filthy things that my sick brain can come up with, and I'm going to attack you and make you humiliated until you will stop talking. Because our fearless leader is Christopher Proudfoot. We take our walking orders from a man who is willing to strike a kid with autism with a weapon. That's how weak Christopher Proudfoot is. He requires a weapon with which to beat Sebastian. Sort of weak guy, very, very, very weak man. So it turned out then that Queen Bee and her channel were at least respectful to this serious guy, Aiden, that they were at least respectful to him and allowed him to come up on her panel so that they could have an exchange of information, a Q&A, if you will. And so I want to show a little bit of this because I think it brings home what it is that I've been trying to convey in my last, 6 or 7 videos, that Christopher Proudfoot, Sebastian Rogers goes missing, right? He goes missing, and people fell in love with Sebastian, and they fell in love with Seth. They could see the authentic grief that he was experiencing. And so people were speaking up for Seth, for Sebastian. And as that unfolded, Christopher Proudfoot began to go on YouTube channels, not YouTube channels that have 600,000 subscribers. And the reason that I point that out, the 600,000 subscribers, that's not saying that Aiden is better than someone who has a channel that's 100,000. That doesn't have anything to do with it. What I'm referring to is if you're looking for your missing kid, your missing stepson, don't you want your messaging to go out to as many people as is humanly possible? Think about this. So they go up on Smiley's channel and they do an interview. Well, they did multiple interviews with Smiley with 7,000 subscribers. But they have a standing invitation from Aiden inviting them on his channel where 600,000 plus people will hear the message of Christopher Proudfoot. Isn't that what you would want? I mean, think about Gabby Petito. Think about these people that go missing, and you hear a story or you see a picture of them, and then later on you realize, oh my God, I saw them in the Walmart. And so that's how Gabby was actually found, was from a family, a young family that were driving cross country, and they were just recording because they do YouTube videos, and they were recording, and they literally passed the truck, Gabby Petito's truck. They literally passed it. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, something caught her attention, and she thought, we should go back and look at our footage from that area just to see if we may have seen something, unknowingly. And in fact, they had recorded Gabby Petito's van, and the door was closing on the van. And so they contacted law enforcement, and they said, I think it's certain that it's her van. And we have footage of it, and they're probably still not there, but at least that you can kind of find where the truck was parked, right? And law enforcement took that video, located the exact camping spot, and then they walked right out across the riverbed and found her body. Because of YouTube, people. That's the function of YouTube true crime. We are not going to conduct an investigation that is going to find Sebastian Rogers. That's for law enforcement to do. But we have an important role in getting people's eyes open, getting people interested in the people they see around them, jogging their memory for something that may or may not have happened 10 months ago. So we have a place, but don't get the wrong idea. We are not a replacement for the actual true law enforcement, not SF Investigates, because he is not trying to find Sebastian. He is not on the path to find Sebastian. It's my opinion that he is looking for evidence so that he can destroy its utility. He is looking for evidence so that he can make it impossible to use it in the prosecution of the Proudfoot or Bowersox or some other people. Right? Now then, so I went over to Queen Bee's channel with Aiden on the panel when I heard that Aiden was actually up on panel with these people. And I was like, this should be interesting, right? You've got this well-educated, intelligent young man who owns his own company and is very successful. And now he's going to try to reason with the screaming Mimis. Okay. I don't know what you call it. You call it people that are very emotionally reactive. people that are very limited in depth and scope. I don't know what you call it. But this is one of the channels that people typically just scream and yell. Like they just scream and yell. So I thought this should be very interesting, correct? And to tell you the truth, my hope is, because I do think Queen Bee, she's not a foolish person, right? You can tell she's not foolish. She's smart. So my hope was, sorry, I had to get a drink of water. My hope was that Aiden would be able to reason with Queen Bee, to use logic, to try to open up some dialogue, right? That this, we are in this bizarre upside down world where people who claim to be discussing true crime, the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, they are not speaking about Sebastian Rogers at all. They are not discussing the evidence of the disappearance at all. You know what they're doing? They have launched a full-blown hate campaign against Brittany J. What? What? That is so bizarre. Because if you've ever been to Brittany J's channel, you can tell that this is not a woman who's running around picking fights with people, right? She just isn't. Now, they characterize her as this aggressive, mean, horrible person. They characterize her as an addict, which is crazy. Listen how nutty this is. Now, these are people that tell you, them in no uncertain terms, they smoke weed while they're on the channel, like while they're doing their thing. But as they're smoking weed and they're conducting this character assassination of Brittany J and others, there's some others, as they're doing this, they themselves are getting high. And then here's their geniuses. Listen to this genius move. Julie Skolnick should really enjoy this. The geniuses that are conducting character assassination of Brittany J, they're claiming that she is an addict. And guess what drug they claim that she's using? Like, you can't make this up. These people are shallow or they're just uneducated. I don't know which it is. They're claiming that she is using opiates, and that's her drug of choice, that she's like an opiate addict, right? Like, I guess like pain pills, right? Do you guys know that Brittany stays on, she starts her streams at about 10 or 10:30, and do you know what time they end? Do you know what time she goes to bed? She goes to bed about 4 o'clock in the morning. Now I ask you all, have any of you had surgery before? Have any of you had a broken leg? Have any of you been given a pain pill for some medical reason? When you were on said pain pill, what's the chances that you would be awake until even 10 o'clock at night? Much less 4 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't work that way, people. I know what you guys are trying to do, but you picked the wrong drug. If you had said, oh, she's addicted to, let's say, Adderall, or she's addicted to cocaine, then you'd probably have a little more luck in convincing people because she's staying up to 4 o'clock in the morning. But opiates? Like, are you dumb? Do you understand how that medication affects a body? So, yeah. So she, it's a silly thing that they're doing, but it's deeply hurtful. And I think more than just being personally hurtful to Brittany and her family and her friends, I think it is a sincere reflection on the game plan of the Proudfoot Fisher alliance. You know what I mean? I think it shows that they have no care at all. They have no wish to find Sebastian. They also have no wish for you to find Sebastian. The wish, the goal, the project that all of these people have signed on for, it is for one thing only, and that is to stop the flow of information about Sebastian Rogers. That's it. It is deeply disturbing what we are witnessing. Now then, so Aiden, look, I was blown away. I was sincerely blown away. Did you hear that nonsense that Christopher PRoudfoot said, where he was saying, we're only going to go on the big major television channels. We're not going to do little small channels in Tennessee, Channel 5. We're not going to do that. We're going to go to the big majors like ABC and CBS. And I was like, you little punk. They're not going to let you come within 50 feet of their studio because of the way that you have behaved in public, the manner in which you have spoken to others. That ship has sailed, buddy. He'll go on channels that have 15, 19,000 subscribers and talk big about how he's going to go on Good Morning America to talk about Sebastian. I'm Billy Badass. I'm going to go out on them big television stations. Get out my way, bitches. I'm Mr. Christopher PRoudfoot, Mr. Chris for short. And I'm a big shot because I got away with what? What was that, Christopher? Mr. Chris? What exactly was it that there was no evidence left behind for? So if he's not going to be able to get on the big network channels, wouldn't you think that clown number one, Christopher PRoudfoot, wouldn't you think clown number one would be highly, highly engaged to go on a serious YouTube channel with a great reputation that has 600,000 subscribers? Think about it. The goal is to find Sebastian, isn't it? So I think I welcome Gigi. Welcome, Gigi. I welcome Gigi's comment because it's exactly what I believe we are witnessing. Exactly. I believe that Steve Fisher was hired because of all the finger pointing that was happening at the Proudfoot. And then here was the big deciding factor. Mama Bauer socks. Boom, boom, boom. Mama boom, boom. Isn't that right, Mama Bauer socks? Mama boom, boom. Got a history, don't you, Mama boom, boom? All right. So Mama boom, boom. Well, people start looking at her and her properties and her actions. And there's some very curious things concerning Mama Boom Boom and her little baby boy, Chrissy Wissy. At the time that attention goes from strictly Katie and Chris, as soon as Mama Boom Boom gets implicated, we get SF Investigates. Imagine that. And so the idea is that with the Proudfoot and Bauer socks attracting so much attention from the public, that SF Investigates was hired to level the playing field, right, Gigi? The role of SF Investigates is to create a network of YouTube creators or social media people, platforms that will point at Seth. And that way it doesn't look like, oh, it's people are just pointing at Chris and Katie and Mama Boom Boom. Now we got people also pointing at Seth. And you ask yourself, yeah, but how does that help anything? Like, just because people start accusing Seth, how does that help the Proudfeet and Mama Boom Boom? Well, it helps because they can make the argument, a defense attorney can make the argument that you can't listen to what's been going on online. You can't use any of the information that has been uncovered by YouTube creators because they're all crazy. You see? So it helps to convince a judge to throw out the experiences of YouTube creators that have gotten mixed up with this clown circus. And one of the big ones is that Christopher Proudfoot befriended people like Elevated Truth, Granny's Watching, and others. And he's had conversations with them that if they are subpoenaed to a court of law and they are questioned about interactions with Christopher Proudfeet, it's going to be bad. Isn't it, Chris? It's going to be real bad because you like to drink a little bit, don't you, sir? You like to drink a little bit, maybe a few other things. You got to be careful of those drug tests, though, don't you? You like to drink quite a bit. And Chris, when you drink a lot, you talk a lot, don't you? So I believe that SF Investigates has specifically been hired to muddy the waters, to put together a group of people that are willing to point back at Seth Rogers and his group and discredit them. Here's the difference, though. It's fake. It's false. It's not real. So it's fake because we all saw the same start to the story, the life of Sebastian Rogers. We all experienced the same information and facts, and we all organically started covering the story saying, hey, this dude, Christopher Proudfoot, and his wife, Katie Proudfoot, they make me uncomfortable. His behavior is really concerning. These people are not behaving like people that are in grief for a child. That's the difference. We didn't have to have a team leader like SF to put us all together. We all just naturally went with our logical, rational mind. We heard the story. We watched Christopher Proudfoot's interviews, and we all collectively sat back and said, something is bad wrong with this man. Something is so bad wrong with this dude. And then SF Investigates comes along, playing the role of this, cheesy defense attorney. Oh, has no law degree, by the way. His previous profession was to take photographs of little girls. That's who we're working with here, people. And he systematically begins collecting Chris's army. You know how we have Sebastian's army, the green team? Well, now because of Chris and SF, Cluminati and such, now we have the Christopher Proudfeet army. We've got a bunch of unwitting or just witless YouTube creators that have fallen in line and said, oh, yeah, I believe Chris. Chris is such a good guy. I think y'all are being mean to Chris. Let me support Chris. Chris. And you look ridiculous. It's like you haven't seen any of the facts. Did you watch his interviews? Like, did you just watch them? Did you watch the interview that happened 8 days after the boy went missing? And he is chuckling and laughing in the interview. I got news for you. People like Christopher PRoudfoot, they're not chucklers. They're not laughers. They're not happy people. They control people in their lives through fear and intimidation and just basic BS. Proudfoot is the name. Hail, Nev, and Ithi, Hail, Nevanthi's mom. Haley Nevanthi's mom. Hail and Evan. I don't know what your name is, Hail Mom. Okay. All right. Yes, their name is Proudfoot. They are American Indian descent. And Mama Boom Boom, that would be Mama Proudfoot, Chris's mom. She's married to a man named Bowersocks. So we talk, I mean, it's a rather ironic, right? Hail Mom. It's pretty ironic that the Proudfoot mom is named Bowersocks. I find it, it's like we're being punked, y'all. I'm sincere. It is like we're being, damn it, I'm on a mission. You guys hang on just a second here. Hail in heaven. Hail in Hail Nevin. Endithi's mom. Endithi's mom. Evan Deethy's mom. Nevin Deethy's mom. Hail Nevin Deethy's mom. Did I get it right? I think I got it right. All right. Now, sorry about that. I get distracted by mystery and clues. All right, Marlena, my parents are close to it all, and she's working 20 minutes from the Slimar fire. I'm so sorry, Reality Wins. I've been watching it all day. It is terrifying. It is so weird. I don't know how to say it. Hail, Nev. Is it really that simple? Nev and Ethi? So you're from Great Britain, perhaps? Yeah, hail Nev and Ethy's mom. I'm sorry. I'm having a bit of a sticky wicket. Hail Nev and Ethy's mom. Having a bit of tea and crumpets. Oh, they need to evacuate ASAP. Yeah, yes, absolutely. It's so dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. I think we might be giving them a bit too much credit. We may be flattering them when we suggest they're knowingly doing this. I think they might just all be effing morons. Well, no, I mean, you could, okay, you could be right too. Hail Mom. A fatal paper cut, you could be right. But I kind of think it is coordinated. I think it is intentional. Oh, I'm so sorry, Zelda. Definitely Larry and you, your family in LA, y'all are in my prayers. It's okay. A lot of people have a hard time with it. You know why? Because Nev and Ethi are not really names that we would have, you know, I don't know, renegades in the United States of America. Neve, I think it's supposed to be Neve and Ethi, but it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. And so I think Neve and Ethi are absolutely blessed to have Hail Mom as their mother. All right. Are there 3 kids? Hail, Neve, and Ethi. Oh, look. Hail, Neve, and Ethi says yes. Hey, Jude, you are brilliant, girl. Look at you go. All right. So we have 3 children. The first of those children is named Hail. The second would be Neves. And the third is Ethi. This is their mother. And there's a little sign here. What is that little sign? I can't see it, but there's something purple before the 80. All right. Yes, you're right. They are nicknames. Thank you so much. Hail, Neve, and Ethy's mom. Mum. All right. Haley, look at this. We are getting somewhere. Don't you ever tell us we cannot be detectives, people. Haley, Nevin, and Ethan. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Now I'll be able to sleep tonight. If you had not told me that, Hail Mom, I would have been awake all night going, now, what could that have meant? So, thank you so much for relieving me of that burden. All right. Boston Sports Lana. Yvette, call Boston now on the hot phone. It's emergency. All right. So let's get back to our points. Okay. Enough of that silliness and foolishness. Okay. So, so we're going to pick up with Queen Bee. And she allowed the very interesting, very well-educated Aiden Mattis on her channel. And it might be interesting to see what happened. I hope that he's able to get through to Queen Bee.
Obviously. Anywhere can live anywhere, so don't talk about people's accents.
I went too far. Hold on. Here we go. Right here. We'll start.
Oh, hold on. Here. Is this Aiden? Is this let me see here. Hey, how are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. This is
Sure.
Aiden Lore Lodge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We're actually in the middle of watching Betty's board meeting. You want to you want me to stop it now? Because we can talk and then I can come back to this.
I only got a couple of minutes. I was told that there was an inaccurate thing that had been said about me on this stream, and I wanted to come in and clear it up. But first, I wanted to ask.
Oh, yeah, well, there's been a lot of inaccurate things that were said on yours and I'm not
there
sure
there weren't actually, and you're welcome to go through my actual documentary and pick out the things that I said that were incorrect. You're welcome.
Well, I don't know about documentary, but we just went through your live stream from last night and went through.
Okay, I have a question. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, put a 1. Because I put my headphones on. Right, Tommy. I was happy to see that he did stay for a while. The Virgo, it's a Virgo zodiac. Okay, so good. Very nice. Thank you, guys. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now. And let's see if the dashing and impressive Mr. Mattis has any success in trying to reach the screaming Mimis.
The live stream is based on the documentary. Everything I said in the live stream is supported by the things in the documentary. So that's
there's quite a few wrong. You got quite a few things wrong, but we can go over those.
I didn't actually. So anyway, what I wanted to say is, am I to understand that earlier in this stream you told your audience that I had been speaking with Seth Rogers?
I don't know if you did or not. I said I'm asking if you're on their green team, yeah, and I'm asking, are you being paid?
I have had exactly one email communication with Tony Mathis after I said that Seth was welcome to come on my show. I extended the same invitation to Chris 6 months ago when I produced the documentary, and I have had that open invitation to both sides for months. The entirety of the conversation I have had with the Seth Rogers side has been one email that I responded to Tony Mathis saying, sure thing. Or, sorry, not sure thing. It was, yes, it is. It was something, sure is. That's what it was. Because he asked if it was my email address. I said, sure is. He told me to call him. That is the entire conversation I've had.
Oh, no phone calls were made?
No phone calls, no email exchanges beyond that. Just wanted to clear that up because what I want people to understand, there's been this myth that's spreading.
I'm glad you did clear that up because there was said that you had a phone conversation with them.
I did not. There's been this myth spreading around that I'm on somebody's side, that I am biased. The truth of the matter is,
I do feel like you are biased, in my opinion.
You're welcome to feel that way. But
see, here's the problem. The problem is that the other group that are targeting Brittany J and they're targeting Seth, those people are well organized. They are in direct communication with each other. And the reason that I know that is because they have talking points. if you pay close attention and you go from Queen Bee's channel to Granny's Watching to Cluminati, if you go to the various channels and pay close attention and listen, you will hear the talking points. They're being directed on what to attack on any given day. Now, Aiden kind of threw them all for a loop, right? So he comes on the scene 600 subscribers strong. He immediately says, hey, Christopher Proudfoot, you and your wife are welcome to come on my channel. We will showcase Sebastian. You can appeal to Sebastian. You can appeal to the people that may have him. You can make use of my platform anytime you want it. And 10 months later, cowardly Chris is nowhere to be seen. Admit it, Chris. The only people that you can stand up to are women and little kids under the age of 8. That's about all you can do, isn't it, big boy? When it comes to actually grown men, when it comes to men that are smarter than you, better educated than you, better good looking than you, you are just a quivering, frightened little kitten, aren't you, Christopher? Just a little tiny mew, mew. Just a little tiny pussy cat. That's all you are. So Aiden really kind of threw a wrench in this whole thing and got everybody discombobulated. And never has it been more clear than Queen Bee's, the immediate reaction that she has. Oh, you're working with the green team. You're working for the other side. Here's a clue. Queen Bee, Cluminati, all the rest of you guys. Here it is. None of us know each other. I don't talk to Aiden. Aiden doesn't talk to Brittany. Brittany doesn't talk to Elevated Truth. None of that is happening. We're all giving you our authentic reaction to the behavior, the words, and the antics of Christopher Proudfoot himself. We don't have anybody that is going to tell us what to think or instruct us what to say, but you guys do. As soon as one of you says something about the game of flashlight tag, all 4 of you guys told the flashlight tag story on exactly the same night together. You guys are pitiful. This is ridiculously dumb. You guys have proven yourselves to have IQ points that are barely registering on a test. And you don't even have the good sense when some guy with 600,000 subscribers, a wide-reaching channel, he comes up on your panel that could actually be just a great tool for finding Sebastian. You immediately become offensive and start attacking him with BS. Not even facts, Queen Bee. All you can do is yell and attack. And, thank goodness for Aiden is all I can say, because without knowing it, without realizing what he was doing, he has revealed Steve Fisher's crew, his mob of merry gentlemen who all have YouTube channels and screech like little girls about how mean and bad and horrible Brittany J is. You sound ridiculous when you guys attack Brittany. You guys sound absurd. For anyone that's been in her channel, for anybody that's go over there, spend 20 hours in 1 week watching Brittany J's channel. You will see a young woman who is simply trying to make a living, to be able to stay at home with her kids and take care of them. And she's polite. She's funny. She's kind. You guys, when you open your mouths and talk about this young woman, you try to paint her as a monster, and you look absurd. Truly absurd. Just as crazy as the way you spoke down to Laura Lodge. You guys don't even have the knowledge. You don't even have enough awareness to understand this man has a top tier education. He is only 2 years out of college. He's got a successful business, and he's been able to manage to grow a YouTube channel to 600,000 plus people. How's your little channel doing, Queen Bee, with all your bravado and screeching?
Truth of the matter is that back in, I believe it was late June, early July, I got a Instagram direct message from Brazen Cyrus, the part of that Cyrus family from Nashville. And he said, you get that message, you open it, no matter what it's about, you open it. So I did. And he said, hey, there's this case in Tennessee. It looks weird. It smells weird. Would you be willing to look into it? And I said, sure thing. And I had come across Sebastian's name earlier in March while I was covering the Riley Strain disappearance. At the time, I looked at it and I said, 15-year-old kid, different part of the state, not like super different, but, not the same town, just not the same details. These probably aren't connected. I didn't look into it. I wish that I had, because maybe I could have done something at the time. But the fact of the matter is that when we got through to July and I started working on this case, I started working on my series, I had no opinions whatsoever. I didn't think Chris was responsible. I didn't think Seth was responsible. I didn't even know the names of the parents involved when I started. I hadn't seen Facebook stuff, hadn't seen Twitter stuff. I knew nothing.
Well, your first stream I watched was, it was pretty good. You weren't on either side. The second one there started to go a little biased. But this one here that we watched like yesterday, the live stream that you did, was, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, was way off.
Well, you're welcome to have that opinion, and I respect that.
I like that Queen Bee is now calming down, right? In the beginning, she was like an old guinea pin hen trying to look for a fight, right? And now I think she realizes that he's not going to just let her run over him and just bully him. And she seems like now she's really having some interest in what he is trying to say. And I think that is really great. I think we are long past time for authentic conversation. And part of me kind of thinks that these people don't want conversation. I don't mean just Queen Bee's channel. I mean the SF Investigates, the Proudfoot Fisher team, right? I don't think they want conversation. I think they want to stir up chaos. I think they want people to have hurt feelings. And I really wish that people could recognize that there are people that are being targeted to have them dehumanized and have them stripped of their dignity so that they lose their channels and such. The single goal of Christopher Proudfoot and SF Investigates is stop the conversation. That's the one single goal they have. And they're using, I think, in an unwitting way. I don't think Queen Bee knows that she's being used. I don't think Granny's watching knows she's being used. I do think Clue, Minotti, and Cletus know what they're doing, and they're doing it willingly with Chris. I think that is probably true. But I don't think Queen Bee really gets it. I don't think that the others get it. I think Elevated Truth got it. I think Elevated Truth figured it out, and he said, color me gone. I don't want any part of this mess and find myself in a courtroom testifying over things I've done. So I'm glad that Queen Bee is sort of like settling in and showing interest in Aiden and what he's saying. I think it's a good thing. So let's listen and see what they have to say.
For me, I spent a lot of time. I was up till 4 a.m. for 3 weeks straight. I spent a lot of time reviewing stuff. I looked at some of your stuff. I looked at Smiley. I looked at trying to think of some of the other names off the top of my head. I looked at Clue. I looked at Shay. I looked at basically every interview I'd seen, every bit of coverage I'd seen. I compiled it all, and I did my best to analyze what I found. And in my opinion, based on the statements that Chris made, based on the statements that Katie made, and then based on the court records and the decisions made following some of these court decisions, it was my opinion, it remains my opinion, that...
Well, seeing a lot of these people that you're watching are not very credible.
Well, I'm watching you. I'm watching Duchess. I looked at a whole bunch of different things. And the thing is, I didn't just take what you guys said and go, oh, okay, that's what happened.
Yeah, because I'm kind of curious about the abuse that happened with Seth and the stuff that happened there. Because you seem to only have a one-way track, a one-track mind with Chris. And I'll address him as Seth, has done some pretty shitty things himself.
I understand that.
Essay. There was no mention in his trauma, Sebastian's trauma, his essay, or the fact that he had to wear undergarments, or I'm not going to sit here and say diapers because he's not a baby. But there was reasons also coming on here and pretending to jack off on a live stream. The things that he's done are awful. Like some of the things that he's done are fucking horrible.
And as I said last night in my stream, I don't think Seth is a saint either. I have no loyalty to either side here. My only loyalty is to Sebastian. I have an autistic little brother. He reminds me quite a bit of Sebastian. And for me, that is all I care about, is getting justice for this child. If the evidence came out clear as day tomorrow that Seth was responsible, I would cover it and I would say yes, it was Seth.
I agree, Aiden. I'm the same. Let me go back. I saw a statement here. Yeah, Island. Hey. Okay. Island High. Or I guess that's Hawaii, isn't it? It says 2 men had a breakdown on SF's team. What is your opinion on this, Jules? Could you maybe be a little more descriptive what you're addressing? Because I don't want to do drama just for doing drama. That's not what I want to do. But if you have a specific thing, I'm a meme girl. CP tried so hard to get narked divers away from the body of water he was going to search. We saw that same exact thing. I'm a meme girl. We saw exactly the same thing with SF Investigates in the Kylie Rodney case. He really pushed hard and made Adventures with Purpose leave the area, go to a completely different lake. And because Bishop and Nick have integrity, that before they quit their search, they went back to the lake, and within 35 minutes, they found the car underwater. So that doesn't surprise me. I think that's SF's standard operating procedure, right? I think it is. So the 2 people that had breakdowns, who are you referring to? I haven't seen the names just yet. They definitely take things out of context, no doubt. And some of the stuff they just make up like it's just not even real. That's okay, Jules. Yeah, Cinnamon. I'm actually with you. I think Sebastian was failed by all 3. Yeah, so we had Crabtree and who else though? Are you talking about Elevated Truth? Yeah, agree. Totally agree. Anyone who's actually searching, there's where you better go. If CP was trying to redirect you away from a body of water, that's probably the body of water you want to be looking at. I think originally Queen thought Laura would jump on and right back off, so tried to say a lot pretty quick. Then she realized that he would stay a while. I think that's probably a pretty good guess, Tommy. I would agree with that. Elevated Truth and Steven seem to have almost doubted their team. Well, Island, it's very interesting that you said that, because if you go back to the earlier work, you will see that both Crabtree and Elevated Truth, that both of them were really kind of siding with Seth. They both were kind of saying, yeah, Katie and Chris are kind of shady. They're kind of, the story that they're telling is not really real. The story they're telling is impossible. So then, because they are local, that means that Cluminati and Christopher Proudfoot have access. They had access to Stephen Crabtree and Cluminati and Elevated Truth. And they both sucked them into the madness. They convinced the two of them that they were a part of something that was very important. They're working. Christopher Proudfoot was smoozing them. That is that narcissistic personality disorder, molding and manipulating another person with BS. And they're really great at the manipulation. They're really, really good at the manipulation. The problem is they cannot sustain it. So when things begin to get uncomfortable, then that anger and that frustration comes out, and people realize, hey, the nice, sweet, caring Christopher Proudfoot isn't a real person. This jerk standing in front of me is the real man. And I mean, didn't Elevated Truth describe almost exactly that same thing? And then it was within days of Elevated saying, look, I'm sick of the BS. Why is there this double standard? Why are we like only attacking Seth? We're never allowed to talk about the shady things about Katie and Christopher. Why is that? Why do we have to do this? Why the games? Like, he said these things, and within about 2 or 3 days of Elevated Truth sort of twisting off a little, I wouldn't say it was a full-blown twist off, but he definitely kind of left the reservation, right? He kind of did leave the group and say, I'm not sure I'm with you guys anymore, right? Within 3 days of that, Stephen Crabtree is in full-blown meltdown. And I'm not going to cover that because I think Stephen Crabtree is a good guy. I've said that all along. From the beginning, I've said that. I think he's a good guy, and I think he got misled by the wrong people. I think he thought these people were going to be his friend, and they led him back into a big problem. So I have only the best of wishes for him. I am hoping and praying for he and his family. And I hope and pray that he does not come back to YouTube until he's feeling better and he can get back on his regular mission of providing instruments to the kids at school. That's what I hope for him. I think he's a very fine person, and he got severely manipulated by very bad people. And I think Elevated Truth demonstrated character. I think he demonstrated dignity. I think when it became clear to him that there was definitely a concerted effort that felt really insincere, that it was not authentic, that Christopher Proudfoot is going up in public places and acting like one thing, but in private, he's someone else. In private, Christopher Proudfoot calls his little buddies, the police, he calls them dumb MFers. It's not really what he wants to put out, is it? But it definitely matches with who we've seen when Chris would get angry. So Elevated Truth responded as a man of character. And Stephen Crabtree, he knows that he got overwhelmed and he sort of lost control of things, but he's a younger guy. He's not an older, seasoned, stable guy. He's younger, and he got off track and he got lost. And my heart goes out to him. And even when he comes back, I believe he should be treated with dignity, no matter what the cause. That Elevated Truth demonstrated dignity. He acted with character, and now he's back on his regular YouTube channel path, and he's left Christopher Proudfoot and the nonsense behind. Thank God. And I think we're going to see more of these guys realize that the manipulation of SF Investigates, the influence. Look, there's another YouTuber that I'm worried about. That would be Granny's Watching. I think she's being heavily manipulated by someone that she simply doesn't have the, she doesn't have the insight to recognize what they're doing to her. And she's got a lot to lose. She has children. She's got a lot to lose. So I'm really concerned about her. And I hope I hope she's okay, but she seems like she's bought in. She seems like she really trusts SF. She talks to him like he is, God, like he is perfect and knows everything. And the reality is, well, let me give you this one. The other one we talked about where SF Stephen Fisher said live on camera that he had all the video when Riley Strain went missing, and that he actually watched Riley go over and into the water. Huge, giant lie. He told another whopper lie today. The whopper lie he told today is this: prepare yourselves. You just don't know the level of greatness you're in when you are in the same channel with SF Investigates. Do you guys know that the president of the United States of America called Stephen Fisher on the red hot phone, like Batman, right? You put the bat sign up on the clouds so that Batman sees it, and him and Robin jump in the Batmobile and they go screaming down to Gotham City mayor's office, and then they pick up the red hot phone. Ring, ring. Hello, it's me, Mr. President Joe Biden, Stephen Fisher. We have a mission for you if you are prepared to accept it. And Stephen Fisher says, yes, Mr. President, I am SF Investigates, and I am on the case. What mission do you need? Get this. This bonehead actually told people that he has to go back to California and investigate the fire. Okay, dumbass. Do you know how many fire departments are working these fires? The idea that you believe that you can investigate the Palisades fire, you are an absurd little man.
Evidence came out tomorrow that said Chris was responsible. I would say yes, it was Chris.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What part of the documentary is it that it comes into play that you talk about Chris's penis and you think that's acceptable in a child's missing case?
That's not in the documentary. That is in the live stream from last night where I was
Which
very obviously
your words have just said.
This rude, ridiculous woman who thinks she's a unicorn, please look at her thumbnail. It's literally a unicorn, like what a little 5-year-old girl would pick as a thumbnail. I don't know what that's about. It's a little strange to me, but okay. This woman who thinks that she's so brilliant and so intelligent, she starts screeching, white knighting for what? Sebastian being missing, people being bullied because of their opinions. No. That's not why the magical unicorn is upset with Aiden. Prepare yourselves, ladies. The magical 80-year-old unicorn is defending Christopher Proudfoot's penis. Yeah, I know. Put that on your bingo card, please. Things I thought I would never hear Jewel say. Right? Things I would never expect to hear coming out of Jewel's mouth. Right? You heard it. You heard me. Yes, the magical 80-year-old unicorn is standing up to loudly white knight for Christopher Proudfoot's penis. I don't know what's wrong with these women. You can't make this up. But listen, it gets worse.
Your words have just said everything covered in last night's live was directly from the documentary.
No.
So what part of your documentary is it okay to pick on another man about his member?
Okay. First of all, you're using the term man here for a guy who whips his autistic son with a belt multiple.
She's literally. Wait a minute. Wait, I gotta quit laughing. She says, I'm not gonna be able to say it without laughing. Hold on a minute. She says, in what way do you think that it is appropriate to make fun of another man's member? And I'm thinking, are you really defending Christopher Proudfoot's ego over the size of his penis? Like, really? She is, isn't she? Yeah. How dare you, Aiden, make jokes about Christopher Proudfoot's member? What's wrong with you, Aiden? Have you no shame? Now, to put this in perspective here, so you won't think I'm a crazy lady, what Aiden said was he made a joke about Christopher Proudfoot's ego by talking about men that drive great big huge trucks, right? So, okay, Bill, if somebody makes a joke about another guy driving like a big huge black truck, what are they actually saying?
Little big truck.
Yeah, that the guy's got a tiny little member, and he's using
His truck is a phallic symbol.
Yeah, that the truck is a sign of his manhood because he knows that he just has a little tiny little pecker, right? So the magic unicorn is really incensed that anyone would have the audacity to make fun of Mr. Proudfoot's proud little pecker.
Times
He never whipped him.
He did. He admitted to it twice.
If you want facts
Twice,
on your
on two
case, you need
occasions.
to go and
On two
read.
occasions. This is in the documentary. This is in the documentary.
He gave him one lashing, is what he said.
It happened twice.
It did happen twice.
He
No, it
admitted
happened one
this in
time.
his
It
own.
happened twice,
time,
Queen.
Queen D, please. The
I'm
documentary.
telling you, it happened
The
one
documentary
time.
I
Because
made.
it's in your documentary does not mean it's true. Your documentary is a load of shit, mate.
My documentary
Just to be
is
quite
taking
fair.
his words.
You know what
My
I
documentary is
think?
taking his words.
You know what I think? I think the magical unicorn, I think she and Mr. Proudfoot may be doing the dirty deed like online. I think they may be having virtual sex because she is really passionate about Aiden making fun of Christopher Proudfoot's big truck, right? Like she's really passionate. And I'm thinking this is not normal unless Christopher Proudfoot has been rewarding her loyalty by giving her a little boom boom magic. You know what I mean? What I'd like to know, magical unicorn, did you get your pink wings before or after you had cyber sex with Mr. Proudfoot's penis?
Words and presenting his words. Chris Proudfoot.
So where in Chris Proudfoot interviews has he ever spoken about his penis?
What?
Please tell me that fact.
So this might be hard for somebody who is not from the American culture to understand, but One thing that is common in American culture is that when somebody has a really big truck, we tend to make jokes about why they might have a really
But
big
what
truck.
part of
Yes,
that
Aiden.
It's
has
not
got
from the
anything to
documentary.
do
That
with
part's not from the
finding
documentary.
Sebastian?
That's
What
not-
part?
See, this is always their standard reset. Well, what does that have to do with finding little Sebastian? What does that have to do? Well, lady, or I'm sorry, magical unicorn, you are the one who brought up Christopher Proudfoot's penis, not to be confused with getting up Mr. Proudfoot's member. You're the one that brought it up, lady, or I'm sorry, magical unicorn. You're the one that brought it up. You did not, certainly not Aiden. Aiden made one passing comment that would be consistent with his age and gender. He made a joke about a weak dude's big old truck. And it is a very common thing. We all know what it means. That's it. So I'm sorry, magical unicorn. You're the one that brought up the topic. And then when he starts to own you, then you fall back on, but what does it have to do with finding little Sebastian? We must find little Sebastian. I'm the magic unicorn, and I want to work with the knights of the round table. Aiden, don't you recognize that Christopher Proudfoot is one of the knights of the round table? And just so you know, Aiden, I have it on strong authority as the magical unicorn that Mr. Proudfoot has a magnificent penis. Show that penis the respect that it deserves, young Aiden.
Part of that is finding Sebastian. And don't talk about where I'm from, because I could live in America. So don't be so
sure, and I could
ignorant.
live in France.
You
Obviously.
What's that have to do with anything?
Anywhere can live anywhere. So don't talk
okay,
about
so,
people
yeah.
that.
and little magical unicorn, if you do live in the United States, you haven't lived here very long, because you would understand perfectly well that a comment about somebody's great big old truck is a euphemism for calling them insecure and having little man syndrome or Napoleonic syndrome. So, magical unicorn, you know, and I know, and Aiden knows, you don't live anywhere near the United States of America. And if you do, I personally, I think a magical unicorn should be living in the land of Oz. Somewhere over the rainbow, magic unicorns fly. You are a clown, lady.
Going to answer your question, what I was doing was egging Chris on because he clearly has ego issues. And I think the only way I'm going to be able to get him onto a platform that isn't friendly to him is by pissing him off.
No,
Well,
you
how
have
about
ego
you
issues.
stop being so
You have
disrespectful
ego-
to
you know,
people?
you're right.
You might
I
actually
do
come
have
on.
some ego issues.
Oh,
but they're nowhere-
Aiden, well done, sire. My goodness, you really got under their skin that time. This fun. Who brought the popcorn? Did anybody bring any damn popcorn?
Nowhere near as
Wait,
bad as that.
No, you
Wait.
Oh,
Actually,
cry about it.
let's
You notice how the actual host of the show and I were able to have a conversation, and then you guys.
So
idiots
because
start
I'm
jumping
asking
in.
you questions that you don't
You're asking
like,
me a question and you're not
Let's-
letting me answer.
you
it. I told
pretending
you
you're a baby.
I told you
let's
the
be
answer.
respectful. He wasn't being rude to us,
Right,
so let's
gotta
be
speak
respectful.
one at a time. It's not. We can't get anywhere if there's. I mean, we have to be able to speak to each other. You know.
That's right, Queen Bee.
As,
Right.
So
as I
wearing-
said, I was egging Chris on. Obviously, that specific part is not from the documentary because I was very clearly egging Chris on to try and get him to react. Okay, it was.
But he's
me.
not going to react. That is a childish move
I
to
think
make.
And trust me, magical unicorns, they can recognize childish things when they see them.
If you want to speak to the man, just talk to
I,
him. No,
in
he
fact-
won't.
I've tried.
Seth
I've invited him
Rogers
on the
would
show
do
multiple
something like
times.
that. But because he won't come on your program, you're going to throw a temper tantrum and talk about his
I'm not.
penis.
With all due respect, magical unicorn, you are the one being terribly disrespectful. You are screeching. You are talking over Aiden after you've asked him a question. He's simply trying to give you a fact-based answer, and you're crawling all over his answer. And I'm sorry, but it's hard to take you serious, magical unicorn, when you stand up white knighting for Christopher Proudfoot's member. It's a little weird and creepy, magical unicorn. Maybe you're not that kind of unicorn. Wink, wink.
I'm not going to.
Is it because you've got a micro penis, or am I just guessing
it's,
here?
God, this woman is crazy. What did she? Oh, wow. This is, I want some pretzels. Hey, pass the pretzels. I'll hand you my bowl of popcorn, okay? We're going to make this a party.
It really is just that I have extended the invitation numerous times, and he has yet to accept it, despite the fact that this would be the largest non-television platform that he has.
It's been on the platform.
Why has Seth not came on?
Seth just agreed to come on last night.
Oh, shocker.
Last night,
Probably
okay.
because it's about tooth fairies and Easter bunnies, if I had to guess, and not true crime.
Exactly.
What?
Trumping a penis.
maybe
Is
take
that guy? Oh, God, he's so ridiculous. Was that the little B. Tim little fella? Yeah, elves and magical unicorns.
Look at the
do.
actual channel instead of just the thumbnails.
We have looked at it. We
you
have
have it.
looked at it. I have, personally.
Uh-huh.
I used to watch all your law stuff, and you were fantastic at that, sweetheart.
Now
But
this is really, I love this because this is the manipulation, right? The manipulation of, oh, Aiden, your earlier stuff was fantastic. Yes, his channel has 600,000 subscribers. He's actually quite accomplished, right? But they start this little game. Oh, young Aiden, I'm so sorry, Aiden, but your previous work was just dandy. It was just beautiful. I just loved it. You were top of the notch, top of the class. And then you wandered into Sebastian Rogers, and you have that all wrong, and you have offended my text lovers member.
your true crime stuff, I'd go back to your day job. Because what you're doing to this case is just as bad as.
Look, try to remember these people could not find their way out of that circus tent with a map. They have absolutely no understanding of how smart Aiden is and that he's a serious videographer, right? He's a professional storyteller who is actually being successful. How many professional storytellers do you know in the year 2025? And yet Aiden Mattis has achieved that. And this bozo who thinks she's a magical unicorn is talking down to him like he is, empty-headed. She literally is white knighting for Christopher Proudfoot's member. These people are not normal.
Bullhorn Betty, by talking about somebody's penis and somebody's truck, you think that that's acceptable in a missing child's case?
Yes, it is. It's acceptable. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. Little Miss Virtue signaling magical unicorn with a phallic symbol stuck to the middle of your forehead. If your discussion and defense of Christopher Proudfoot's penis, if that is appropriate, if you having the audacity to pretend to be a magical unicorn with a phallus stuck to your head, then yes, Aiden is behaving in a perfectly congruent age and gender manner to call into question the size of Christopher Proudfoot's truck and all of his bravado to suggest he has little man syndrome. Yes. So take your virtue signaling somewhere else, wicked witch. You have no power here. off before someone drops a house on you.
Have you lost your fucking mind?
When I'm seeing this as a murder case,
It's not a
no.
murder case.
I think it is.
You are
Can I ask
you
a
are out here
question?
with 600 subscribers. How dare you suggest that this is a murder case when the police
think
have
it's
said
a
there's
murder
no
case.
foul place? I don't care if you
not-
consider
no,
that your
no.
How dare you, Aiden? Don't you know how moral and principled I am as a magical flying unicorn with a phallic symbol on my face? Don't you see that I am a virtuous flying horse's ass? And you had the audacity to state facts. Christopher Proudfoot does, in fact, drive a big, scary truck to make up for a cute little itsy bitsy teensy weensy. You know what?
No,
opinion.
stop. The police have not said there was no foul play. That is
Correct,
an outright
Aiden.
lie.
Yes, they have.
Proudfoot
No, they
Yes, they
didn't.
have.
No, they didn't.
That is
Sorry,
an outright
Rowena.
lie. It is an
Can I ask a
outright
que-
lie.
Can I ask a question? I'm a villager
Sure,
from
go for it.
Tennessee. I'm a villager from Tennessee.
You
And
sound
you stated that Betty
like
got
a
arrested.
villager from Tennessee, woman. You sound like a villager from Tennessee. You have no recognition that when Aiden speaks of a village in Tennessee, he's coming from Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, they are in fact not called towns, they're called villages. Like when you go somewhere, it'll say the village of Tontakawan. It'll actually say that. So go right ahead. You're about to make a complete ass of yourself.
For driving by the Proudfoot's home.
That was
You
my
stand-
understanding.
Okay, but see, that's the problem.
Right,
That's
Mystic
not why
Firefly.
she was arrested. She threatened to get a pew-pew and
Now, the
put it
same
in
woman
her
who's having
oyster.
trouble with the word villager,
And
she
she
can't say the
chased
word
down
pistol.
the grandfather of Sebastian Rogers.
Oh, see, well, that's
Then-
completely inappropriate.
Okay,
She's
but
a holla
that's what we're
girl.
saying. If you did
Ain't
your
no
research
holla back,
as
girl.
in was on the news, forget YouTube, that was part of her court case that got 4 POs granted, right? She's violated
Ooh.
them 6 times.
Ooh.
Okay, and I understand
Okay,
that,
so
and I
then
don't approve
maybe
it.
you need-
Ooh, hey, Miss Villager lady, what does that have to do with finding Sebastian Rogers? Damn, I have been wanting to say that, y'all. I have been wanting to say that so bad, and I got to say it. What? Excuse me. What does that have to do with finding Sebastian? Okay, here's my opinion right here, right now. Queen Bee, you should have taken back control of your panel. You should have started back questioning Aiden, because at least you are asking intelligent questions and waiting respectfully for some kind of an answer. So these other clowns, it just got boring at this point. I would wish that Queen Bee would start asking the questions again.
Okay, so that's just one of the things, right?
May I?
Sure.
Let me
In
just
my
jump
opinion-
in. Queen, I've got to drop. Thank you for having me up, and thank you for speaking to me, Lola.
Yes, thank you for coming in and voicing an opinion. I appreciate it.
Safe flying,
When it
magic
comes to
unicorn.
the VHB stuff, these lawsuits, everything,
glittery
I have not paid a
for
ton of
you,
attention to
all
the
the way
drama of it.
home to the
For
no.
me, what I am interested in is the circumstances of Sebastian.
So
Why did he go
abusing-
missing? What have his parents said about the night he went missing? What is the history of these parents? So that's what I looked into. For me, the drama stuff, that has been totally the outside. I don't care about it.
See, you call it drama, and we call out correcting facts. Do you
But
realize
you're wrong.
that Seth Rogers, the person that you're going to have on your panel, that he also was kicked off a military base for hitting Sebastian?
Okay. I have a question, little villager. What does that have to do with finding Sebastian? Katie was a cheater. And Seth was pissed off that his wife was having sex with Christopher Proudfoot. And perhaps he didn't behave in a way that military bases like. And so they kicked him off the base. Now, how did that help us find Sebastian? What does that, something that happened 16 years ago, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China? Exactly, little villager lady.
That he, when he was married to Katie, that the people next door, his neighbors, were going to adopt a child and had a social worker come, nothing to do with him, but had a social worker visiting them, and they parked in his spot to where he raged out so much. He went ballistic. Do you understand that?
Are you so incensed that you've lost the ability to communicate? Number one, little villager lady, and number two, what does that have to do with finding Sebastian in the year 2025? That's what I would like to know, because that's what you guys always ask, isn't it? So what exactly does that have to do with anything? You are going by a written account written by the woman who is committing infidelity. And you're taking it now 2 decades later or a decade later, you're taking it as gospel fact when it's simply her account of what happened. But gosh, I don't know. Don't you guys think this will be the first time a divorcing woman who got caught cheating might have lied? Do you think parents who are getting divorced, who've been caught having sex with other people, do they lie? Do they make excuses for their own bad behavior? Do they lie? But let's take Christopher Proudfoot, little villager lady. We can watch Christopher Proudfoot's behavior today. We can watch his antics. We can listen to his insane rhetoric right now today, because it's been recorded for all of history. And those of us covering the case have stored it on our external hard drives. So the choice that we're given for intelligent people, little villager lady and magical unicorn person, we can either believe the lies of a woman a decade ago that got caught cheating and is lying her way out of her shame and humiliation, or we can simply go to Olivia's channel or Duchess's channel or Smiley's channel, and we can actually watch and listen to Christopher Proudfoot acting like a baboon.
That Katie has accused him of hitting
that's
Sebastian.
That's in legal paperwork filed.
Yes, but so this is what I would counter with there. There are all these claims that Seth was abusive towards Sebastian, and yet Katie in 2023 was ready to allow Sebastian to go live with Seth.
Correct.
So either way, whether what Seth did is true or not, that does not make Katie look great. Either she lied or she was about to allow her son to go live with an abuser.
Or
Correct.
Sebastian.
And Granny's watching, just hush. Just hush. And how do you, Christopher Proudfoot apologists, how do you guys make sense of the fact that Katie lied to CPS to say that Seth was not in the life of his child, and they were so convincing in their lies that the father of this child was never notified after 5 investigations? The latest complaint was in January of 2024. How do you make sense of that exactly? You virtue signalers, you guys that will white knight for Christopher Proudfoot's penis, but you won't stop to use logic and ask yourself, okay, wait a minute. How is it that CPS did not provide the information to the actual court-appointed and biological father, Seth Rogers. How? Who did the lying? Who did the lying, Magical Unicorn? Who did it? You guys are being absurd. It never has there ever been more proof that you guys are being illogical and shallow in thought than this woman who gets up on panel with her little magical unicorn thumbnail and starts screeching and screaming about the dignity and honor of the size of Christopher Proudfoot's member.
Was now 15, turned his 16 and capable of defending himself as opposed to being a 5, 6, 7-year-old.
Given his health issues, I would argue he is in no way capable of defending himself.
Well, I'm glad you said
thing is one other thing. Let me say one more thing. You said in your live that he was not high functioning, that he was very medically needy, and if that's true, you might want to ask Seth on his panel, if he was that medically needy, why did he leave him 4 days a month for 14 hours a day while he went to work at night?
Well, I think
I just can't even respond to the stupidity.
that might be a misrepresentation or a misunderstanding of what I was saying.
So two things you've misrepresented in your
no. I'm not saying that that's something I misrepresented. I'm saying I think you might have misunderstood what I said.
No, another thing is you said that you have an autistic brother. Okay, I had a special needs sister. Okay, so I can relate on the whole sibling thing.
Okay, I hate to point it out to the actual virtue signalers themselves, because they're the ones who really make it known, right? That they're so much more virtuous and honorable and moral because they don't accuse Christopher and Katie Proudfoot, right? Okay. I hate to be the one to point this out, but again, what does this have to do with finding Sebastian? Exactly.
And you're fine with a man that sits with a woman that calls his son defective. If anybody called your brother,
hold on a second. I got another point to make, little village lady. Aren't you the one who proclaimed loudly across the rooftops of YouTube? Aren't you the one that proclaimed that all autistic children are different? No two autistic kids are the same. Each child with special needs should be treated as an individual. Isn't that what you said? I think that's what you said. In fact, I'm certain that you group virtue signalers have screeched that into our ears many times. And yet, when you need to pull that rabbit out of the hat, you don't have any problem. Oh, well, I have a special needs son, and I can tell you because of my special needs son, I'm an expert, and Sebastian wasn't like that. Oh, so what you're telling us then, you kind of forgot yourself there for a minute, little villager. You're saying that because you have a special needs son, that your son and Sebastian are the same? Get out of here. You guys are clowns.
Defective. Multiple times.
Defective as compared to what Christopher Proudfoot said to Katie Proudfoot as Sebastian stood there, and so did the neighbor. I hate to say this. If you don't want to be triggered, turn your sound down right now, please. Christopher Proudfoot actually screamed at Katie in the front yard with the neighbors watching, "Come get your R word." Christopher said that. Come get your R word. begins with an R, ends with A-R-D or T-A-R-D. And Sebastian fell to the ground weeping. Yeah. So you keep it up over there, little villager and magic unicorn. You keep your crap up. You look ridiculous.
Would you support that person?
No, and as I have said, I am not supporting Seth.
Seth Rogers is.
But I'm not supporting Seth.
Would you put... Get the fuck out of here. Okay. All right. Y'all have a good day. I'll be doing
Bye.
that.
Bye, little
All right,
village
see you later, love.
lady.
Granny, you're up here.
Bye.
So
Granny, you're up here.
long, farewell.
Hi, Aiden.
I'll be the
Hi.
saying good night.
I would like to come at this from the academic perspective, because when you came up
Lord
defending what you
help
were
us,
talking
loving
about,
life.
you kept talking about your documentary, your
It
documentary.
is his documentary.
How academically dishonest is it for you to cite yourself as a source?
I'm not citing myself as a source. I'm saying that
Now,
the
what you
information
have
I
here
am speaking about
with
comes from.
what you have here with Ms. Brianna Davidson. She's one of these ladies that has to take a perfectly normal first name and give it this bizarre spelling because somehow she thinks it makes her unique and interesting and important. And it doesn't. It just makes you look stupid, right? So Brianna. Her name is not Brianna. Please don't offend her by calling her Brianna. Her name is Brianna. It's so dumb. And Brianna is probably like a 65-year-old fat dude in the middle of I don't know where, Milwaukee. Okay, I don't know. But anyway, Brianna wants you all to know that she is deliciously cerebral. Yes, she is a deep thinking, cognitive, metacognitive type of unique. She's calling Aiden out on his academic dishonesty. And I laughed my behind off because Aiden is about to hand Brianna her ass on a platter.
From the documentary in which I
That you made.
in which I cited all of my sources.
You have a problem with that in the past.
No, I don't. A guy named Tyler watched 11 minutes of a video I made and then assumed the entire thing lacked any citations, despite the fact that he only watched the intro section.
Do you know how Illuminati lost her career?
Yeah, because she actually.
Are you aware you're doing the same thing?
I am not. I don't plagiarize. I write all of my own scripts.
Well,
Where are
Aiden,
your citations?
In the scripts that get posted on Patreon for $1 a month. And that
So
are
people
available
have
by
to
request.
pay.
That are available by request
pay.
for free.
You have to, so somebody's going to have to pay. Okay, Brianna. Here are the facts. This man has graduated from a top tier university and he is a professional writer. So if Aiden Mattis is going to write a script, don't you think it makes sense that he would be paid for his script? Again, you people are clowns.
Am I yelling at you?
Doesn't
No,
matter.
but you're speaking. You're
Then
interrupting
stop.
me as I'm
Oh,
trying
you
to
stop.
explain.
You're
And as
silly.
I have just said, they are available all the time on Patreon for $1 because it's work I did. And then they are available for free for research purposes to anyone who would ask for them. I am happy to provide them.
You're also talking to someone who has written dozens of theses in
There
the
you
college
go.
academic arena.
There
Okay.
you
I
go.
don't believe you.
There's that academic bullshit. These people, these professors, they want the whole world to know that they are smarter than you are. The academic bravado is insultingly ridiculous. And she could not make one 5-minute statement up on Queen Bee's without giving us her Vita. Guess what, Brie Hanna? No one cares if you're published. No one has asked for your citations. You actually are asking for Aiden's citations, which he is happy to give to you. And he's making available to anyone free for academic purposes. But you are a puffed up little cloud of unicorn toots, Brie Hanna. And all you couldn't wait to try to pull rank on this guy and say, I'm so much smarter than you. I am a published academic. They call me Brie Hanna. Gee, this is crazy. That big top circus thing that Queen Bee's got going on there, boy, she hit that nail right on the head.
Well, you can go and look at them. They're online. Do you want me to send a link to one right now in the chat?
You are a walking. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
all right,
you are a.
I'll go grab the most recent JonBenet Ramsey one. That way
You're also wrong about JonBenet Ramsey, but you are a walking, talking appeal to authority fallacy.
No, well, I'm really not. You're welcome. This is a bunch of veiled attacks that are supposed to sound like they're academic, but they're in reality.
How you doing?
You have made a bunch of claims that are not supported by any evidence, and I am grabbing a version of this document so that I don't give you the entire 229 page document.
No, that's fine. You know, I was just so we could show that you were telling the truth on here or whatever it was you were wanting to prove. So
do you want me to?
And thank you, Queen Bee, for speaking to this man with respect, because he's speaking to you with respect. Thank you. But I do wish that you would have tried to control some of your panel. I know they're not your children to control, but they're acting like children. Know what I mean? But I do appreciate that you were respectful. I do, very much so. And Brie Hanna, I got some suspicions about you, lady.
Share my screen?
If you'd like to, go ahead.
Sure,
That's up to you. I mean, you were wanting to prove something, so I was trying to be fair. I mean, I'm very fair. I'm very, regardless of what people have told you, I'm very fair.
All right, let's see.
And while you're doing that, I have a question, because you had just mentioned that a lot of your information in your documentary is, supported by facts.
Good point,
and
Crystal.
What facts do
It
you
is,
have
hey, Jude,
that would point to Chris and Katie, because law enforcement isn't saying that or isn't pointing the finger in that direction?
Oh, okay, you are just completely wrong about that. And I could sit here and go through the list, but I think I'll just be quiet and let Aiden go through the list, because Aiden is spot on. I would add one thing that he does not comment on. The one thing that makes me certain that my opinions on Katie and Christopher Proudfoot, my calculus on the motive, right? My calculus on that, I believe, is accurate, and it is this: that you have a man who claims to love Sebastian and want to find Sebastian, although there has not been a neighbor or family member that has come forward to say, yes, Christopher Proudfoot loves Sebastian. That has not happened. Instead, you've had plenty of neighbors come forward and say, he was brutal to that boy. I witnessed it myself in the front yard. You have teachers at school that are calling CPS on Christopher Proudfoot. There are multiple people within the community that Christopher Proudfoot is the whole Mark Shore spot dude. That is a big tell for me, but here it is. This is the one that makes me certain that my opinion is accurate. And it is that this man will pay $15,000 to a fixer like Stephen Fisher Investigates, he will pay $15,000 cash so that Stephen Fisher can destroy evidence, so that Stephen Fisher can obscure fact from fantasy. He is interjecting things that are absolutely 100% not even real. Stephen Fisher is a liar, people. And when you realize that Christopher Proudfoot is willing to pay that kind of money to a professional liar, then you're left with, but why? Why would you want this man on your case if you're legitimately trying to find a stepson that you love? Why are you threatening YouTubers like me, telling me that I cannot use Sebastian Rogers' name at all if I make a video? So what I do instead of putting Sebastian Rogers' name, I make my videos about Christopher Proudfoot. I didn't get ordered to not talk about Christopher Proudfoot. Christopher Proudfoot has actually brought suit against a woman who is trying to find Sebastian, who's searching, putting up signs, putting up, flyers. She lives 5 states away, and this judge grants a restraining order for 100-pound little woman who lives in Florida, that little teeny tiny little pussy cat Christopher Proudfoot is scared of. Who's the real scaredy cat?
Well, so law enforcement is doing some weird things in this case. I'll admit that. I have never seen this before. I am seeing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office be weirdly evasive, while the TBI is very direct, and the FBI is involved, but they're not saying in exactly what way.
What do you mean by weird?
Well,
It doesn't seem like everybody's on the same page.
Well, Aiden, would you admit that there's likely something they know that you don't?
It's entirely possible there's stuff that they know that I don't.
Would you admit that perhaps knowing all that information could give a drastic different outlook? And at that point, you've incited an audience by your...
Wrong, Granny. Absolutely wrong. And it's going to be fascinating to watch this group of Christopher Proudfoot sycophants, obsequious sycophants. That's for Brianna. It's going to be fascinating to watch this group as Christopher Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot are arrested, and they do a preliminary hearing, and they all have the realization that for the past 4 months, the DA has been working with the state police to get charges in order. That's going to be fun. We're going to need popcorn and peanuts for that day.
Your conviction that these parents are guilty, if it came out that they weren't, do you realize the impact you have had?
I would feel horrible about it, and I would apologize.
Well, and at that point, do you think an apology does much? Do you think that we have a responsibility as channel owners, especially one of your size, to make sure that for example, I listen to your, and I don't disagree entirely with you. Believe it or not, I know, you may see that I'm involved in a RICO and alleged believing in Proudfoots or whatever, but I don't.
What does that have to do with finding
But I did
Sebastian?
listen to you give all these facts of Nina. And then after you stated all that, so you know as well as I know the way it works, that's what people are leaving with. You then admit that a lot of what she stated could not be backed up. An example being if the Bower Sox, live streamed via Facebook, threatening her life.
Okay, so this genius wants Nina to give us proof that Christopher Proudfoot backhanded her little 4-year-old son. She literally said that. What's wrong with you, lady? What the hell is wrong? What person do you think could actually make up a lie like that? You would have to be a complete deranged psychopath to be able to say, oh, my ex-husband backhanded my little child with his braces on. No one said, Granny's watching, that he knocked the braces off the child's teeth. No one said that. She said he had braces and it cut the inside of her mouth. That's what he said. So you guys, we can't even listen to what you guys say because you're so irrational. You don't have any understanding, no grasp of the facts.
Life, you mean to tell me in and out of court custody, she doesn't have that screen recorded ready to hand over to you?
Well,
so at that, sorry, go ahead.
That's so in the documentary, what I said was a lot of this needs to be corroborated by police before it is basically. I didn't say
before it's given to the public, right?
Well, no. What I said was that I think a lot of what Nina is saying should be looked at by the police because I'm not the one who put it out in the public. Nina did.
No, you actually did because a lot of that didn't come from Nina. It came from you this time.
No, it came directly from her interview with, I think the guy's name was Trevor.
That's right. And what you're listening to, they're back to the virtue signaling. That is a tool. That's a psychological tool that this type of person uses, that when they're losing all other argument, they fall back on, oh, but I'm so much more virtuous than you yourself are. How dare you? You are responsible, Aiden, for putting out Nina's heart-wrenching, sad acting to demonstrate that Christopher Proudfoot is an abusive jerk. It was all a big act. Nina was just pretending. She didn't really experience that. Listen here, Granny. This is true. If Nina can get on in front of a camera and weep and grieve and show fear to the level that she did in that video, discussing the way that Christopher Proudfoot and Mama Bowersocks treated her and her infant daughter, who was nursing at the time that she was kidnapped. The woman should be in Hollywood. She'll be the next Meryl Streep. What you are witnessing in that interview, Granny, you are watching real trauma, not this pretend stuff that goes on the YouTube channels. That's the real deal. This woman was reliving the Christopher Proudfoot nightmare. There will come a day, Granny, when you are going to have to realize that you stood in defense of a monster. Remember that. Remember that.
Did you see the video I played the other day of Nina by chance, where she's laughing about Chris calling her in a panic and she says, Jesus Christ, Chris, you lost a whole child. Thanks for.
What was so wrong with that? After what she's lived through, after what Mama Bowersocks did to her, after the damn judge stole her child and gave her infant daughter to a monster, after all of that, I think if she wants to make fun of Christopher Proudfoot, I don't have a problem with that at all. Besides, Christopher Proudfoot has a teeny tiny little wanker, so it's okay.
For ruining our family vacation.
No, I mostly went by transcripts. It was
drop it in the back, Granny. I'll pop
agree,
it up.
Linda.
It would have taken forever.
Absolutely
to
agree.
Just listen to each one, so I went by transcripts.
Yeah, I get that.
And can you go back and answer my question on like what facts that you have that you're going off of that make you believe the theory that you are portraying to your audience?
Sure. They're all.
You know what? I can't even justify that ridiculous comment with any words. I'm just going to be quiet and let Aiden do it.
In this document. So this is the intro script. This is the one I wrote when I first started. Didn't really know anything about the case at the time. All of that got, kind of wrapped up into here. When we come through for, here we go. Trying to find specifics, but honestly, it's been a while since I looked at the document itself. But
Aiden, I have one logical question for you.
Sure, go for it.
We're from the same area, so I understand you're not really being argumentative the way we speak. So I'm going to defend you on that. I see people in the chat saying he's raising his voice. That's the way we speak.
Yeah, we're just
There you go, meme girl.
Yeah. But the one thing you did mention is that given that Chris would want custody of his daughter, would be a reason, right, to kind of maybe perhaps get rid of Sebastian. But wouldn't that ruin your chances? Like, wouldn't that put a big, like, wait a minute, from a perspective of the court?
That wasn't the reason. The reason was because Sebastian was talking. Sebastian was making outcries against Christopher. Sebastian had made an outcry in January, weeks before he went missing. Mere weeks before he went missing. And Christopher PRoudfoot knows what's in those CPS reports. All of you brilliant, big-brained people over at Queen Bee's Big Top, none of you have stopped to consider Christopher PRoudfoot knows what is in the CPS reports. And the reason that Seth is not talking about what's in those is because they will be used in a court of law as evidence.
You have a child that is missing under your care. Don't you think that the police, the judge, the police, everything were involved in this custody case before they went and endangered another child's life?
I would like to believe the justice system works properly, but I think we can all observe that it doesn't.
But this is over in a whole different, so we can't say like it's Sumner County being corrupt at this point because it's not in their jurisdiction, right?
Well, that's the thing with New Mexico is that they might not be able to go in and do the things that they need to do in Tennessee to check in. And if Sumner County isn't willing to turn things over, then New Mexico can't do anything about it.
See, I strongly disagree because I think just
Yes,
the logic part of
Crystal,
it.
they are.
Like you mentioned,
Yes, they are.
Sebastian was set to go live with Seth. Why not just allow that to take place and then they can have their happily ever after family with their daughter? So why would you?
Here's part of my thought processes. I don't think Katie wanted Faith. I don't think this is what Katie wanted. I think this is what Mama Bowersox wanted. I think from the moment the little girl came into the world, Kathy Bowersox was focused on, that's my baby. Go get my baby. You better go get my baby. And daddy, little bubby Chris, what mama wants, mama gets, right? And he's failed. He spent nearly 10 years trying to get the baby. He's failed. And I think that the stories from Sebastian were about to come out. No question about that. And I don't think Katie wanted to be the mother of a small child. I think she may have been angry that she was being forced into this decision. I think she would have preferred to have kept her child and not be, mom to a little kid who is going to be grieving the loss of her real mother. I don't think Katie wanted any part of this. I really don't. From the day one, y'all think about this. From day one, there have been rumors that Katie Proudfoot was having an affair, right? There have been rumors that Katie has a history of affairs. And we know for sure that she was having affairs when she was in California. So what's the best predictor of future behavior? Past performance. So I think Katie had one foot out the door, but Katie had a problem in that Chris, his family is the one that brought the money. And Katie wasn't going to be able to keep living in the same standard that she had when she was with Christopher. So I think there's something far, 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 far more complicated that was the precursor to Sebastian going missing. This wasn't a simple situation of, oh, I got mad, I heard him, now we got to hide it, cover it up. I don't think it was at all. There's something really, really complicated about Katie Proudfoot. And I think that Christopher, he's the hounds of hell. He's guarding the gate. He's the gatekeeper. Katie called him and said, I screwed up. I need help. And Christopher Proudfoot is now guarding the gates.
And said, risk your freedom, risk the chance of ever having custody or seeing your child again by making one vanish. I mean, logically, that doesn't make sense.
Because I have a feeling that part of that custody case was going to be bringing Sebastian in to testify. And if Sebastian testified, Chris would never get custody of Faith. Would never.
I would agree with you, given the fact that both Seth and Chris have stated that Sebastian over exaggerates and lies to authority in an attempt to get them both in trouble. Both men have said that, by the way.
Okay, wait a second. With his this idea that Sebastian exaggerates in an attempt to get them both in trouble. I have a question for you, Granny. If you were married and your husband was beating the shit out of you every day, is it possible that you might exaggerate a story to the policeman just to try to be safe in your own house? Is that possible?
Like you said, you claim to believe that he's very disabled. Do you think his testimony would have been that credible?
Well, no, I don't think he's very I think there was a misunderstanding about what I said there. And maybe I misspoke, but what I was intending to say, what I was intending to present was that
Crystal.
Sebastian has a very serious chromosomal disorder that can put him in serious danger.
It is serious.
I was not trying to say that he's low functioning.
Okay,
I don't think he's low functioning at all. My understanding is that he's actually quite high functioning.
Right.
It was more about the physical disability for me than the any mental issues.
I have a question. So based off of that information right there, do you believe Seth's story about the Lego or the Hot Wheel?
I have a question, Cheesy Wheezy. What does that have to do with finding Sebastian?
I'm not sure I'm familiar.
You don't know about the fact that he claims that Sebastian...
Aiden, how dare you not know about something that happened 15 years ago? What does that have to do with finding Sebastian?
Slipped on a Hot Wheel and fell towards a doorknob.
Okay,
How
that
dare
one. Gotcha.
you?
Yes.
How dare you bring up Legos and talk about Legos? You should be ashamed of yourself. Talking about Legos doesn't have anything to do with finding Sebastian. How dare you bring that up? What's wrong with you?
Well, from my understanding, Sebastian never said he was. Katie claimed. Katie claimed Sebastian said that.
No, Seth said that Sebastian ran downstairs, jumped in his mother's lap, and said, "Daddy beat me."
Okay. Maybe I was
no
thinking about
compassion
the
at all,
Katie
Julie. None.
But here's the thing. But again, that is Seth saying that Sebastian ran downstairs and said this happened.
Just like saying that Chris said, you know, if people find out about Sebastian, which is another thing you repeated, which ironically, I'm in an injunction for the same thing you said, but you were praised for it.
Granny. You know as well as anyone that spent more than 5 minutes in your channel that you got Brittany J embedded in your brain like some kind of an earworm. You are eat up with Brittany J. You completely, I swear, I bet you dream about that girl. I bet when you try to get in bed at night, go to sleep, all you can think of is Brittany, I hate Brittany. Brittany's so evil. Brittany, I hate Brittany. You know, if you had just left her alone when she asked you to, if you just walked away and left it alone, you wouldn't be facing charges in a court of law. And even now, when you're going to court, you still can't quit running your mouth about that girl.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure why.
I'm not sure why either.
Yeah, my understanding of that, for me, it was very much like, all right, I looked through all of Chris's statements and I've only found Chris saying things that vaguely agree with that.
Can I ask a question? Why do you put so much stock into what Chris's ex says, but not so much stock into Katie, what she says?
99% of what I put stock into is what Chris himself said.
Booyah. There you go. That's it in a nutshell. That's what these people don't understand. We are not listening to the gossip, right? We are watching Christopher Proudfoot's own behavior, the words that he says, the disrespect that he shows other people. We know Christopher Proudfoot. We know what he is. We all recognize him, especially those of us that were abused in childhood. We see the mannerisms. We know where the abusers are. Right, Christopher?
Yeah, but Seth
everything
said
else
a
was
lot
just
of-
supportive to that.
Seth said a lot of incriminating things himself, which is pretty crazy. Like, for instance, did you know what age he met Katie?
I've heard she was a minor.
Oh,
She was 12.
what does
and he was
that have
21.
to do with
Okay.
finding
Hold on real fast.
Sebastian? Let's all say it together. What does that have to do with finding Sebastian? Hey, Granny's watching. What does that have to do with finding Sebastian? That's what you guys say when somebody says something about, Christopher Proudfoot is an aggressive, volatile, explosively angry kind of jerk. When somebody gives facts, your answer is, but what does that have to do with finding Sebastian? Well, people like him, they hurt people. And after they hurt them, they apologize because they were out of control when they harmed them.
Here's this video. It's 26 seconds.
And who cares about this video?
Trial date.
What does
So
it mean?
we're getting ready to go to trial. Then all of a sudden, Sebastian goes missing.
By the way, how in the world did a guy like Christopher Proudfoot end up with a beauty like Nina? I mean, she is gorgeous, right? I don't know what she was thinking. Whew.
I was like, great fucking Chris. Great to fuck up our family vacation.
Mhm.
You just go lose a whole kid. We're not talking about a bearded dragon here. We're talking about a whole kid you lost.
So I guess at some point, maybe there was a lost bearded dragon, lizard. But I think the takeaway from this is that Nina is facetious. She is talking about her monster. Try to remember that. What did you want her to do? Like, oh, Chris, I'm so sorry. What can I do to help you? No, she's angry because her little infant daughter was legally kidnapped from her. She's angry. And you may want to say, oh, well, she didn't show any empathy to Sebastian. Maybe not, but she's fighting for the safety of her own child. I swear, sometimes I think you guys have all been living in like glass jars.
Chris and Katie, you didn't know that during one of the interview of Terry Lynn that he said that she would be his at the age of 14. And
Did not know about that part. All I knew was that she was a minor.
How about the fact that he said in Dolly Vision's chat that Sebastian Rogers was the only child that wasn't aborted by mine? And if you look at the age of Sebastian Rogers and you do the math, that means it probably is there might be she might have been some sort of relationship before she was 18.
Could that not also mean that any child since Sebastian?
No, he said mine. The screenshot said mine.
Well, yeah, but they were together after they got married.
Yeah, but
She was
in the
deployed.
Navy.
I'm sorry, you go. I'm sorry. My apologies. For
All right. Well,
interrupting
yeah, so here's the thing. I will ask Seth about that when he comes on the show.
you. He will not answer that.
He might not, and that wouldn't look good. I mean, that's like I said. I have no loyalty to anybody here. I only care about Sebastian.
Well,
I,
and with
I do
that,
believe
with
you don't have
saying
loyalty.
With you saying that, that goes back to the information that you claim that you've gathered to form your opinion based on that information. But again, where and what is that information? Because the police have come out and said that there's no evidence of foul play.
They've said there is nothing to indicate foul play and that there is nothing to indicate that it was not foul play, which is police speak for
We don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Right. Aiden, are you aware that the police told Seth that they only wanted to communicate with him via text? So there's a, direct proof of communication. They also played the what if game with him.
What if you
and
paid
that
somebody
he's
to
the
get
only
after
parent
someone?
out here and announced himself as a suspect? He's also the only parent to have financial gain from the very beginning, 3 days after.
So, Granny, so that the cops just want to communicate with text, that's fairly standard when the district attorney is preparing a case for trial. That's number one. So any of those texts will be open to rules of evidence. So there's not anything curious or unusual about that. I find it interesting that Seth, with confidence, says, yes, I am a suspect. We're all still suspects. It was actually Christopher who came out and said, oh, we've all been cleared. Everybody's been cleared. So are you having trouble with this concept? I don't know exactly. You're thinking that because Seth says we are all suspects, we have not been cleared, you think that's an admission of guilt somehow? Because it sounds like to me, Seth knows exactly what is happening, and it is Christopher Proudfoot who continues to put out fake, false information.
After her son disappeared to current time with a monetized YouTube channel solely based off his Woe Is Me, not Sebastian. Ask him the last time you threw a poster of Sebastian's face up on that channel.
Wait, and also 3 days after Sebastian went missing, he did a GoFundMe for himself.
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
My understanding about the GoFundMe was that it was so that he could remain on the ground looking for Sebastian.
And are you aware that he didn't remain on the ground looking for Sebastian? Are you also aware that he did receive his all of his coworkers paid leave? So he was financially okay. Are you aware that he recently admitted?
Now, I've got a theory about Granny's watching. So you can hear how activated she's getting. Listen to how angry she is.
His green team, they call themselves, that he was not searching on the ground because he didn't want to risk disability. Are you aware that in this injunction and the 9 months that Sebastian has been missing, he has only searched 4 times on the...
Are you aware? Are you aware? Are you aware? Okay, let me give you a little history here. You see, Granny's Watching is not a true crime channel. She's actually a drama channel. She's been like, she and Natasha Cooper, they were like besties. They were all up in that, okay? So during that period of time, several years ago, when Granny and Natasha were raping and pillaging, she and Brittany kind of got crosshaired, right? They were fighting it out, mad at each other. So Brittany finally says, I've had it with this. I don't want this anymore. She leaves the drama community and starts her own channel to cover true crime. And that's what she does. She talks about the facts of the case. She puts up news reports. She poses questions for panel discussions. She's true crime. Granny's Watching is obsessed with her hate for Brittany J. Obsessed. She's delusional. Like, she'll describe things that happened in Brittany J's channel. That is not reality. Like, you go and go, wow, that's crazy. I need to go watch Brittany act like that. You go over there and try to find it, and it's not there. So that's actually how I found Brittany J, because I was listening to Granny's Watching, and she kept going on and on and on about Brittany J. And so I got to search and finally found Brittany's channel, started listening to Brittany's, and I was like, this is so odd, because the things that Granny's saying about Brittany, I don't see. This isn't happening in the channel. So where's she getting this from? And now you've got other people, Stephen Crabtree, SF Investigates. They're all going on major attack against Brittany J. It's so bizarre. I invite all of you to go over and listen to her channel. you're going to walk away going, but why are they attacking her? What's wrong with her? She is a very sweet person. These people bully her to the point that some nights she's literally sobbing. And she's not like jumping up and down and cussing them and calling them names. She's saying, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. And Granny's watching cannot. She can't leave her alone. She's obsessed with Brittany J. It is my opinion that Granny's watching doesn't give a damn about Sebastian Rogers. She doesn't care at all about this story, the evidence, what happens in a courtroom, what are charging documents. She does not care at all. All she wants is to stick it to Brittany J. That's all she wants. She wants to see Brittany J lose her channel. That's the goal. So what's really sad about this whole thing is that she has now aligned herself with Christopher PRoudfoot, that now puts her in a, I believe, legally precarious position. I think she has gotten into I know she's gotten into private conversations with Christopher PRoudfoot, and now Granny's watching is the keeper of Christopher's secrets. This is going to get real messy for you, Granny's watching. You have let your hate and anger, your need for revenge, you have let it drive you into the fire. You have jumped right out of the frying pan. You are deep down inside the fire now. And frankly, I don't know if there's anything you can do to save yourself.
The ground?
I mean, I'll have to go and corroborate some of that information myself, because that contradicts with some things that I've seen. But I mean, here's the point. Here's where I feel like we're getting the weeds. I have never come out here to say Seth Rogers is, number one dad. I don't think he is. I don't think Chris is either. Okay. My issue is that what I was looking for was, I was trying to put myself into the mind of a criminal investigator here. When you look at a disappearance, and in this case, when we look at it, I think that the suggestion Sebastian ran away is silly. I mean, there's just no evidence of that.
I believe
whatsoever.
He was lured away because they actually checked. They still maintain Seth's electronics, and they never returned him. And actually, at that time, he couldn't play his game, so he had to go to Chris and say, "Hey, can I borrow your game system?"
Okay, Tim, I'm going to be gentle because I don't want to hurt your feelings. Okay, they kept Sebastian's electronics.
Or something like that, because while his son was missing, that was his priority to play video games.
He called to ask to borrow Sebastian's PlayStation because when the police went to Seth's house after they left Chris and Katie's that morning or the next day, they took all of Seth's electronics, and most of them, from what I believe, have not been returned to Seth. And in the beginning, when Seth came online, he was telling everyone that Sebastian had no access to internet at his house, and he had no access to online gaming. Then later on, as he kept giving interviews, he stated that Sebastian did have internet. He did play online. He had people come out and speak and say that they played online.
That's what I was talking about a while ago. I think Granny's all-out assault on Seth is because Seth has made really good friends with Brittany J, right? They're good friends. And not in an exploitative way. Seth does not go up on Brittany's channel, none of that. But, he's respected in her channel. He's welcome in her channel. And I think it's comfortable for him because people don't pester him and ask him a bunch of questions and stuff, right? So I think that Granny's watching, I think she's projecting all of this hate that she has for Brittany. I think she's projecting it onto Seth, and that's kind of her surrogate target. If she's not going to be able to get Brittany, then I think she thinks taking down Seth will kind of give her some of that satisfaction, because Seth and Brittany have become good friends. It's just my opinion that I'm giving. Emmy says, hold on. Okay, so Emmy Joe is good. I mean, she is in Brittany's channel. She's up on panel every night. She's friends with Seth. They gave Seth back all of his devices. Sebastian's were bricked, meaning they wiped them clean when they extracted the data. So that's that, right? There's literally zero reason for Emmy to come up here and mislead us. Zero. I'm telling you, the day that indictment comes down, it is going to be funny to watch the reaction of these sycophant channels. It's going to be very interesting to see how they behave.
Sebastian
At
and
Seth, correct?
at Seth,
Yeah.
yes, and that Seth also had left him alone.
Agreed,
for 12,
Sammy.
14,
I'm okay
16
with
hour
that.
days while he worked.
Smoking in
So,
the girls' room.
You know, I don't think that either parent has done anything to Sebastian. My theory all along has been that he was lured out of the house.
He was lured.
Possibly by someone on the gaming, that he had met.
I was lured.
I feel like by now that
okay, I'm going to be respectful. If he was lured out of the house with no shoes on, why can't two bloodhounds find a scent? Maybe you could explain that to me. Because bloodhounds are used to find the remains of dead Civil War soldiers. Yeah, like they're really good at what they do. And we now know, after last week, we now know there were two bloodhounds at the house the day Sebastian went missing. So explain again how he just innocently walked out the front door without leaving any DNA behind. That is simply not believable. It's not possible. And it is the one thing that makes me certain that we are going to see some indictments in the next few months.
the police would have a track of that, to be honest.
Yeah,
That's the only problem with that is they would have a digital footprint.
Yeah, but would they release that if they're looking for them to the general public? If they don't, you know what I mean? I don't know what they would do.
So my thinking is that if the police were confident it was not the parents, they would have said that.
Would they, I mean, to be fair, not quite, unless they have a suspect in mind.
Now, here's the problem, Granny's watching. He did not walk out the front door. Those two bloodhounds will not lie. They're not going to lie. The bloodhounds are not going to lie. And there was not a fresh track leaving that house. Period. So then, if you get that far and you agree there's evidence Sebastian did not walk out of the house, that's evidence that will be used in a court of law, Granny. There is no scent of anyone leaving the house. Now, if you get that far, the next step is, okay, well, he's not in the house. So where did he go? That's the next point that you're at, that the lawyer is going to have to prove in a court of law. So where did he go? Well, if we go back to the case of Gannon Stout and we think about Letitia Stout, we know that she hit Gannon in a suitcase, put the suitcase in the back end of her car, then drove the car to go get a rental car and put the suitcase in the rental car to store it at the airport for a couple of days until she could rent a trailer and drive to North Carolina, making a detour to Florida to toss a suitcase under the bridge. So that means if Sebastian did not walk out of the house, I don't think anyone believes that there's evidence that he flew in a hot air balloon out of the house. I think he would have had to have been driven away from the house. And the only person parked in the garage was Katie Proudfoot. So what are you going to do with that, Granny?
Mind. Because
that's what I mean, is if you have something like there's a line of communication showing that Sebastian was talking to this one specific person right up to the moment he disappeared, and maybe there's even text material that says as much, that is at that point, that's a suspect who is not in the family. That is somebody that you should be looking at. And if that were the case, I would say, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, my thing with that is that Seth didn't come out in the beginning and state that. So how would police know to look at that information or look into that information right away?
I think that's where I see a lot of similarities with the Ramsey case. I mean, the parents were not forthcoming with the police.
Yeah.
And as a result, the investigation has been derailed.
I have a question. Wait. Can I haven't had a chance to really ask questions.
I haven't either,
but
okay.
Just give me a moment.
An email or something?
Wait. Can I?
I'm going to get down, Beaton. That's all. I just would really like to speak to Aiden myself as well.
Yeah, well,
there's a way to reach it.
I can do another 20 or 30 minutes.
So you guys
would
be, happy to know, I suppose, that Grifter Granny, that she literally brought SF Investigates onto her channel this morning. So there's that you could go listen to as well. So I think we are like we're going on 3 hours deep on this video. So I've made my point, right? That the reach and point collapses for sure. So I've made my point here that you have an intelligent, accomplished young man who really has not been in these arguments in the Sebastian Rogers case. He's just trying to talk about the case, and he is badly maligned. These people attack him on a personal level, you guys, on a personal level. It's unbelievable. Because here's the reason. I want to be very clear, because sometimes people don't get what I'm saying. The reason it's incredible is because this is a man who could get Sebastian's face and story out to 600,000 people. Now, he happily goes on channels with 15, 20,000 people. He doesn't mind at all going on smaller channels and screaming and cussing and jumping up and down. He's happy to do that. But why won't he take up Aiden, who has been offering for 4 months for Christopher PRoudfoot to come up on a platform that will reach more people than most mainstream news channels reach? Are y'all aware of that? They don't get that kind of reach. So Aiden offering his platform, 600,000 people, Sebastian's story, his face would go out to every country where the internet is easily accessible. It's simply shocking that the Proudfeet once again behave in a guilty fashion where they have secrets to hide, rather than behave like Seth and simply want to get Sebastian's story out there. Do you know Seth came into Aiden's channel the other night? It was pretty late. They were doing a live. They had put out this documentary, and then the day after they were doing the live, Seth came in. He just mentioned, I'm here, hello. And Aiden said, I'd like to invite you on my channel. I hope we can get together. I'd be happy to give you this platform. Guess who said yes on the spot? Yeah, Seth. Seth didn't hide. Seth didn't pretend. Seth didn't claim it was a HIPAA violation for him to go up on channel. He didn't send his fixer after Aiden to shut Aiden up. He didn't do any of that. He said, yeah, I would like that. So Aiden is going to have Seth on his channel, but he's been offering it to Christopher for 4 months, and they are hiding in the woods from Lore Lodge. What does that tell you? Think about it. Telling you, there's indictments coming. I can feel it in my bones. I'm certain it's going to happen. I feel like it's a matter of time at this point. I think they must be getting close. All right. So it was so great to see everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out. I mean, we are talking almost 3 hours. Y'all are amazing. Please take me up on my challenge to go over to Brittany J's channel. Listen to her channel. I mean, go a couple of nights in a row to listen. You are going to find out the things that these people are saying about Brittany J. It is not real. It's not even close to real. I am shocked at hearing this all-out assault on Brittany J. They're saying things about her that are, it sounds delusional, because when you actually go in there and listen, when you actually go in there and watch her content night after night after night after night, she doesn't do drama. She's not going to be hating on other creators. She's just going to be covering her content. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. I just don't get it, but there it is. All right. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you will go over to Lore Lodge, subscribe. He has got some amazing content about anything that you can even imagine. Like, he does all kinds of cool history and Viking stuff and European stuff. I mean, he is very interesting person. All right. It was good to see you guys. I hope you guys have a fine, wonderful Wednesday night. You're probably not going to hear from me tomorrow because I got a long, full day tomorrow. So perhaps I think I will be back on Friday. Okay. I don't have a regular upload schedule because I do work a full-time job. So if you will subscribe, then at least you'll get a notification showing that I've put up some new content. Please hit the thumbs up. That helps other people find this video. And I love when you guys leave comments underneath the video. So until Friday, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening.